There you go. We haven't quite DJ Slick Rick here.
Now it's recording. DJ Slick Rick?
Laying down the sickest beats. Yeah, buddy.
I say a lot of dumb things. Mitch Matched is one.
Match.
Horsem? No. Ham Whizzle?
Ham chop.
Ham chop? I don't know. I say dumb things.
Boom.
What's up, everybody? I am Mitch. This is the Fit4Moto Academy podcast. I'm joined by my drinking co-host, Rick. What's up, Rick?
Hey, not much. So you just caught me mid-drink, and I got to that awkward phase where I'm like, do I actually drink? Do I have time? And it just kind of... No. So I put it back down.
Busted. Super awkward.
So I'm totally parched. Didn't get a sip. So as soon as you start talking again, I'll go get a drink.
And that's what we like to do on this podcast, man. We talk about all things motocross related. We talk about nutrition and fitness and riding and gear and all that kind of stuff. And we just like to talk about motocross stuff, but we also like to have a silly goose time. Because if you're not having fun, what else are you doing this for?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know? So all that being said, this is episode 6, which is titled, I've already forgotten, but go ahead.
Gear. What do you need? What don't you need?
Yeah, there we go. That sounds good. I like that. Episode 6, gear. What do you need? What do you not need? What's a waste of money? And yeah, man, let's get into it.
Let's go.
All right, man. Thanks for joining me on another episode.
Thanks for having me back. This is what gear, or episode 6?
This is gear?
Gear? Episode 6 on gear.
EP6. Yeah,
Yes.
man. EP6. We're 6 into these already.
And I'm surprised you've held on to me for this long.
I thought about terminating you. Then I realized that no one would listen to it, so here we are.
Friends, so...
I have no one else. So here we are. I'm
you
stuck
can
with
apply to be Mitch's friend at...
Email me, Mitch at Fit4Moto.com to be my friend.
It requires the occasional crappy podcast.
More than occasional.
Yes. 6 of them, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So how's the week, dude?
It's been a good week.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yep.
You were sounding a little rough earlier.
Yeah, I think meds have kicked in. Neocitrin.
Yeah.
Yay.
It is one of my favorites when I start feeling like crap. I really do. Neo is like a huge booster for me, man. It makes me feel better. I don't know if it's just the hot liquid or what it is, but...
Yeah, it's fantastic. Not great if you mix it up and get the daytime when you should be taking the nighttime.
Daytime? Nighttime. You ever see that thing with the bird?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I just sound stupid now because if you haven't seen it, it's not funny.
Could you reenact it, please?
It's like this bird and he's got like his wings up and he goes daytime and he kind of puffs his chest out and then he brings his wings down and covers his eyes and he's like nighttime.
Nighttime.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so episode 6, man, we're talking about gear and as it relates to what do you need, what do you not need? Because a lot of people, honestly, like when I do schools and stuff, a lot of people are like, I don't know what to bring. What am I allowed to bring? Or like, what do I need? And do I have to have this or this, right?
Yeah.
So for example, someone asked me like, do I have to have a chest protector? And obviously my answer was no, but it did make me think about like, what kind of gear should you be getting, as a newer rider or maybe as a more experienced rider, is there any new information that's come to light on helmets or anything like that?
Awesome. So it makes me think back to my first set of gear. So I just got my... Oh, Captain Mitch is coming out. So I just got my YZ125, traded my street bike for it.
What do we call it?
A Billy Brap.
Billy Brap.
Billy Brap. The most hillbilly redneck bike ever. Yeah, it was wonderful. So had my bike, wanted to go riding, had a farm at the time, so wanted to go in the backyard and zip around, but I didn't have gear, and I realized it would be pretty important to have a helmet on. So So I jumped on Kijiji, found a duffel bag of used gear from some guy. So I showed up at his house.
Was there like, there wasn't like hooker parts in there, was there?
No, thankfully.
Just a bloody knife.
A severed foot in a shoe. So I just threw that away. I didn't think I'd need that for riding.
Yeah, it is actually in a boot, so I only had one boot.
So I went and grabbed this duffel bag, went home, and I had some of the crappiest gear. I had this awesome silver old school Fox chest protector with a blinking red light on the back.
Oh, dude, I remember that now. Yeah. I remember the blinking light looking at you like, what the hell do you have a blinking red light on your chest protector
And
for?
I'm just thinking, who's this idiot Mitch? He doesn't even know you need a blinking red light to ride a dirt bike.
Dude, I remember that. Do you still have it? What did you do with that stuff?
I think I tossed it.
Well, that's too bad because 100% I would go out and wear the blinking red light now just because.
The zip-tied bike light, I believe it was.
I would for sure wear that. I forgot all about that. Yeah, I don't remember seeing the gear though.
Yeah, it was a very bland, I think gray and black set. Nothing too fancy.
And you pitched it all?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Kind of a off topic, but growing up, well, I guess it's kind of on topic. All the gear that I had was hand me down too. And so a really good friend of mine, shout out to, I call him B Bonnet, but Steve Burton. We grew up riding and racing together. His older brother, John Burton, shout out to JB. He gave me all his old gear. And so I had like, dude, now it's like retro stuff, right?
Oh, that'd be awesome to wear right now.
But like back then, they were, I want to say they were Fox boots, maybe O'Neill. Anyway, they were like leather boots, dude. Like,
no way.
I really wish I would have hung on to them because I would put that up on the wall now and like with pride, dude, and be like, this is my, when I very first started riding, this is some of the gear that I had. It was so cool, and I really, really wish I would have hung on to it. Don't know whatever happened to it, but.
So to all the younger or newer riders, hold on to your gear.
Yeah, 100%. Don't ever get rid of that stuff. Like,
and if you're going to toss it, donate it to somebody. I'm sure there's somebody who could use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I have a lot of sets of gear. I'm fortunate that way. 95% of them I don't wear anymore. But, and a lot of them are just old and worn out, right? That I can't really give away because it's just garbage, really. But I just don't want to get rid of it because it's still kind of like at some point is going to be vintage stuff and it's cool. Yeah.
And then you can sign it, then give it away.
Yeah, because it's not going to make it worth anything.
I've got a few in my garage hanging up on the wall.
Yeah, signed, just signed Rick.
No, sign 313 Mitch.
Just sign your own jersey, hang it up. No big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Been doing this for a few months now.
So that like all of the gear that I had to start out was all hand-me-down stuff too. And like I said, I really wish I would have hung on to it. I got a chest protector when I was, I don't know. It would have been like 11 or 12 for Christmas. And it was this purple chest protector. Again, I wish I would have hung on to it. And I got it for Christmas and I was super, super excited about it because I thought it was like, it made me like a legit motocrosser, right? So I had this old dirt bike gear. The gear itself was Fox and I think the boots were Fox, but I don't remember. And so I had this like super matched setup of like.
Did you say Mitch matched?
Mitched.
Mitch matched.
I meant to say mixed.
No, it was Mitch matched.
Actually, it was, to be fair. You know what? I'm going to own this one. I am not going to be embarrassed by this one. This one I'm going to own. It was Mitch matched.
So when we go out riding next week, I will show up in Mitch matched gear.
Okay. Yeah. So it was mixed No. How do you say that?
I don't know. All I can think is Mitch matched.
All of a sudden, Mitch matched doesn't sound so bad, does it? No. That's it. That's the word now. Mitch matched. That's what we're using.
Mishmashed?
That's what we're using. No.
Mitch matched.
Mitch matched is now the word. So I showed up with all this Mitch matched gear on, different brands and whatever, nothing matched. And yeah, man, that was my setup for probably a couple of years. And I don't remember how I got like my first brand new set. I'm sure I bought it. I'm not saying I stole it. I'm just saying I don't think anyone gave it to me. I think I bought it from a dirt bike shop in Sundre that's still there to this day. I don't remember where I got the first set from, but probably from that dirt bike shop. And yeah, man, Mountain's Edge Cycle and Sled in Sundre. Shout out to those guys who now carry iRide supplements, by the way.
That is fantastic.
It is. But yeah, man. And you know, it's funny because like looking back, I always, you know, at the time when you're a kid, you're kind of like, you know, I don't have the newest gear and I don't have the newest this and that. I can remember like flipping over the magazines and looking at all the different gear and like just because back then there was no internet and looking at the magazine and which like the gear sets were already 4 years old by that point, but looking at it and being like, oh, if I had that set, I would be so sick. Right. And, you know, but not knowing that fast forward a bunch of years to where I am now, and just thinking how cool it was to have some of the gear that I did have, you know.
Yeah.
But when you're that young, you don't think about it that way. You're just like, oh, I need to look cool and whatever.
I still think that way. I need to look cool.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it does. You ride good or look good, ride good, right?
Makes me faster.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, so I guess we kind of both had a similar thing. I mean, you had a blinking red light. I had some old leather boots, you know?
Yeah.
Fairly similar that way, but mine was mismatched. And, but it does kind of raise the question of what gear do you really need to have? And what's the differences between, like, let's say you go out and look at $1,000 helmet, or you go to your local power sports dealer, they got an HJC helmet on for $99, right? Yeah. What is the difference between those two? What do you need? What do you not need? Is the $100 helmet going to do it? Or should you be looking at the more expensive helmet? Is it really worth it? All the way down to the boots and everything. Like what do you actually need for gear, man?
Yeah. So as far as helmets go, once I decided to upgrade and get rid of some helmet that had another dude's DNA all over it.
Gross.
Yep.
It's so sick.
And just thinking about how much you ride and how sweaty you get. And I didn't clean that thing out. I was just excited to jump on the dirt bike and I just threw it on. So who knows what I was putting my head in.
Gross.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yep. So I went to Mountain's Edge in Sundre, and that's where I bought my first helmet. And I've seen Fox. That was a brand that I've seen a whole bunch. So I just went and grabbed a Fox helmet, made sure it fit, and away it went. So how much does a helmet matter?
So it's a really good question. A helmet actually matters a lot. So
and I did go with one of the cheaper ones too.
Right. So you know, just kind of sticking to sort of the basics here. Generally speaking, the more you pay for a helmet, the safer it is. So, and that's for a couple. That's for a couple different reasons. With a cheaper helmet, they basically will use just a couple different layers of foam on the helmet, and so as your head impacts it, it will squish those layers of foam to take some of the impact, right? Okay. And once you affect the integrity of that foam or the shell of the helmet, that helmet's garbage.
Gotcha.
Right. So if it falls and hits the ground, you know, you've affected the shell integrity. You shouldn't wear it anymore.
So are we talking we bump it off the counter and it hits and needs to be replaced, or something a little bit harder than that? I
would say a little bit harder than that, but gotcha. You know, I guess technically speaking, right, any impact will affect the integrity of it. So okay. I'm sure that, you know, there's probably some doctor or manufacturer out there that would be like, no, that's got to be replaced. But dude, if you just spent a G note on a helmet and it fell off your counter, it'd be awfully hard to go, oh, guess I got to buy another one.
For sure. So maybe be careful with your gear bag too. You shouldn't be hucking that around, and yeah, if it's got your helmet in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So generally speaking, yeah, the cheaper ones will just have those foam liners. Then you get into more the mid-range ones or the more expensive ones, and they have a bunch of different things in them that will help keep your head safe, right? So
gotcha.
If you've ever seen any of my other videos on the YouTube channel, I've done a video on which helmets I wear and why. But really just to kind of sum those up, a lot of the cheap helmets, they just go by a certain equation that was developed for, honestly, for like car accidents.
Okay.
So within that equation, it's just going for straight impacts. Okay. Now the difference is that when we crash, we have a lot of angular velocities and stuff, right? So a lot of the more expensive helmets now, they go into a type of testing that involves something called the brick equation, which involves angular velocities and the brain hitting inside your melon when you crash, which deals a lot with motocrossers specifically.
Okay.
Right. So the more expensive helmets will have that testing done, and they have to adhere to those guidelines of the brick equation. So Whereas the cheaper ones with just the foam liners, you're not necessarily getting that. The more expensive helmets, they'll have, there's a ton of different ones from different manufacturers. Liat is a really popular one, and they do a lot of science behind what they do. So they're a safe bet, but they have little things inside the helmet. They call them turbines, but they're essentially like a bunch of little rubber suspension deals that are kind of suspended between the shell and your head. And so as you take an impact, these little rubber suspension deals will kind of rotate and take some of that angular velocity and take some of the compression and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
High tech stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So, because I remember like on my YouTube channel, I reached out and I said, hey, because I crashed, I was wearing a helmet. I actually have it hanging up behind us here.
The one with half a visor?
Yeah, that's the one.
Or do you normally ride like that?
I do normally ride like that, but that's also the one.
What do you call it when they ride without a visor?
Bullet head?
Yes, I love that. And why don't more people ride like that?
I don't know. It looks pretty wicked. If you want to stand out, wear a bullet head.
Yeah, with the magnet ones, man.
Yeah.
If I could ever afford a helmet like that, I would be straight bullet head all day, every day.
It looks pretty wicked. So I crashed in that helmet. It was actually a pretty good get off. But because I crashed, I needed a new helmet, and so I reached out to my followers and I said, hey, if you could pick any new helmet, what would you get and why? And so it was really interesting to get some of the responses that I did get, because there was everything from some of the helmets that just look really, really cool to helmets that I know that are safe, and kind of everything in between. And so, one of the common threads that I found when it comes to a helmet is a lot of people it looks cool and it's comfortable to wear.
Gotcha.
Now I understand that if it's comfortable, I get that. People want something that's comfortable to wear, but honestly, like the safety factor was like, it wasn't even brought up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which to me is weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if your brain isn't safe, literally there's nothing else that matters, right? You can heal a broken bone, you can attach ripped off tissue, you can do a lot of things, but
brains are hard to repair.
Man. And all the science shows now that literally every single impact you take will affect your brain.
Gotcha.
And that's scary stuff to me. So for me, the helmet is the number one piece of gear that you need to have, without a doubt. And I would say not even a cheap one. I would say, this is just my personal opinion, but definitely put your money into a better helmet that's going to cost you a few more bucks, because hitting your head and having the effects of that is not worth it.
Gotcha. So in a perfect world, everyone would be riding with the most expensive, safest helmet there is. We all can't afford that. So at what point do you start making the leap in getting nicer and nicer helmets? As a beginner, I'm just starting to hit some of the bigger stuff. Should I start looking into nicer, safer helmets?
Sorry. 100%. Yeah, I think so.
And do I just go straight and drop a G note on it, or?
I think so. Okay. Now, there might be some people that disagree with me, but hear me out. With the more expensive helmets, so not only do they have different technology in them where they've done the science behind to say this will help with rotational forces, angular forces inside your head, not just a straight impact. Because we don't just hit our heads like, we slide a little bit when we hit and things like that, right? So, so for one, the more expensive have that, and it's not just a couple pieces of foam in there. So that's one for me. Additionally, as an added benefit, not that it matters a whole lot at the end of the day, but the more expensive ones are a little more comfortable to wear too, because they have different foam linings in them for comfort and things like that, right? But really importantly, a lot of the more expensive helmets also will have, they're basically like breakaway pieces. So let's say you crash, medics come out, you have some sort of neck or back injury, or the possibility thereof, they can pull these little tabs. It'll pull the cheek pads out, and they can pull your helmet off without dicking up your neck.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, rather than reefing something off with a broken neck. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got a cheap helmet and you've got a torqued up neck or back, that literally, if you move it a fraction of an inch, you're paralyzed for life, right? So they got to try and get this stupid helmet off your head without moving your neck. So now you take the cheap one where they can't do that, and you run that risk. Or you have the more expensive one that has a pull away cheek pads. Like literally is a tab you pull out and the thing will come apart so they can pull it off your head no problem.
Oh, nice.
So let me ask you this, for someone that's, whether you're hauling ass on the track and you're a really fast guy, or or you're just somebody that's learning how to ride, which probably is, as risky or more risky.
Yeah.
Do you know when you have a neck or back injury? I don't.
No, definitely not.
Right? Definitely not. All I know is that when I do have an accident, I want the equipment that I have to be keeping me as safe as possible. And B, I want whoever is looking after me, medics, doctors, whatever's going to help them, I want that too, because it matters.
Yeah, I guess you'll never regret spending a bit more for a helmet.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. You're never going to regret spending more on a helmet for sure. So, yeah, man, I mean, I get it. Not everyone has the money to spend on a super expensive helmet, but I would say for sure, like, if you can, don't waste your time with cheap ones, man. Go for the more expensive one. It's worth it.
Maybe spend the most that you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can also mean maybe you spend less on a flashy jersey, right? Maybe you have to buy a used jersey, or maybe you have to buy...
How dare you? What gives you the right?
Who do you think you are? But maybe that means you buy a chest protector with a light on the back, and you know what I mean? But maybe you if you have a small budget, maybe you sacrifice a lot of it. Maybe you ride in a t-shirt, dude, because you want to spend more money on a helmet. Personally, obviously, I wouldn't have done that when I was younger because I wanted to look cool. But knowing what I know now about life and about what matters and what doesn't matter, I don't care if someone thinks my t-shirt looks stupid, but I do care if my head's safe. Yeah. As safe as it can be.
Yep, absolutely.
Just had Rick bring his mic up here. It was starting to get down near his nipple line.
They hang pretty low.
It was getting swing low, sweet chariot. So for me, 100%. Dude, spend the money on a helmet. It's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I actually feel pretty strongly about that. I've had a fair amount of concussions myself. And I think with the last bad crash that I had, which was last year, if I wasn't wearing a good helmet, I think it would have been bad news for me.
Gotcha.
I likely would have had another concussion. I just hit the ground really hard. So, and I know my head hit the hard because I remember my head hitting hard and going, ow.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. So for me, 100% helmet, that is the number one thing you need. And if you're an experienced rider and you're running, I don't know, $200-$300 helmet, dude, ditch it and get the more expensive helmet. It's worth it. And don't just take my word for it. Look into the science. Like, again, this is one of the reasons I really like Liat, is because you can go and look at the studies that they do and they have the data to say, this is why our stuff is better. Now that being said, I haven't run the test myself, so I can't say for certain that they haven't buffered the numbers or whatever. Yep. But taking it in good faith that they've done that. Most of the other manufacturers, they don't put out the same data. And that means something to me, right? Being as kind of a sciencey nerd, I like being able to look at that and say, okay, I have something to go on here, versus some of the other manufacturers just like, our helmet looks cool. And by the way, the visor breaks away. Yeah. Right. And I'm sure that's probably good. You probably do want the visor to break away, but where's all the data to say that when it breaks away at this amount of force, this is the effect that it has on your head and your neck and all that kind of stuff? Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Sounds like I need a new helmet.
Yeah. I don't remember, which one do you have now?
It's one of the Fox ones. I can't remember.
Oh, we got it on sale though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a couple years ago.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't crash, so it doesn't need to be replaced.
Well, I guess you could wear a hockey helmet, and if you just don't crash, you'd be all right.
Totally.
Just keep the wheels on the ground, you'd be fine. But so for me, that's number one.
Okay.
Talking about a limited budget, what's number two? Boots.
Okay.
For sure. You need to have some good boots. And that's for a number of reasons. Obviously, like the foot pegs are sharp, right? The shifter can wear down a lot of things. If you're riding in shoes, you'll know what I talk about. It hurts your feet, right? It's taking the impacts and all that stuff. And that kind of leads me into the boot safety, where boots will keep your ankles safer and stuff. And a lot of the experienced riders that might be listening to this know that, right? So it kind of begs the question of what makes a difference between $100 pair of boots, or should they be ponying up for the $1,000 Alpine Star Tech 10s?
Yeah, and I've seen the boots that you've bought, and you've went all the way with boots, and I've seen some cheaper ones. So What do you do? What do you get?
Yeah, so I have gone with the most expensive pair that I can find, and not just because they're the most expensive, but my train of thought, on some level is probably, well, if they're charging $1,000 for these, there's got to be something better about them, right?
Yep.
So, and what I found was that wasn't necessarily the case, honestly. So let's talk, Alpine Stars. They have a Tech 10, Tech 7. The Tech 7s are, I want to say $400, and then I think the Tech 10s are $1,000 or $1,100 or something like that.
Gotcha.
Now, between the two, honestly, I preferred the Tech 7s, the cheaper pair.
And when you were running the Tech 10s, didn't you have some gnarly pegs like that had spikes on them? They looked so sharp.
Yeah.
And they just ate those, it looked like.
Yeah, the bottoms. I actually have the Tech 10s are actually just sitting behind us here. Actually, so are the Tech 7s, come to think of it. But yeah, so for me, the most expensive boot doesn't necessarily mean it's the best boot.
Okay.
They might have a couple bells and whistles like, I don't know, quicker releasing buckles, or the Tech 10s, they can have like a gel insole,
Okay.
which is a little more comfortable on your ankle and maybe on some level provide some support and that kind of stuff. But honestly, if you're looking at a cheaper pair of boots versus the most expensive pair, it's not like helmets. It's not like where it can make the difference between a brain injury and not.
Mm-hmm.
With boots, it might provide a little more protection, a little more ankle protection, so you don't blow your ankle up. But it doesn't matter what pair of boots you're wearing. If you crush your ankle, or if you get whiskey throttle on a roller section,
Yes.
your ankle is going to blow up regardless of the boots that you're wearing, right? So there might be a little more protection there. And then, like I said, some extra bells and whistles. Some of the boots have replaceable soles, so you can, when the soles wear off from the foot pegs, you can take the sole off and put a new one on there.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So maybe as a more experienced rider, you might be a little harder on the soles of your boots. So maybe that's something you want to talk about and look into, is being able to replace them, so you're not ponying up that $1,000 for a new pair just because the sole's worn out.
Mm-hmm.
But certainly as a newer rider, you probably can get away with a cheaper pair and you'll be all right, because it still has the stiffened sole, so the foot pegs don't hurt your feet. It still has some ankle protection on them, right? The buckles will still work fine. Granted, they may not be as flexible or as nice, and maybe the boots are a little stiffer and not as comfortable to walk in, right? Things like that, that's where you're starting to move up in the level, at least with my experience. When you start paying more for boots, that's the kind of stuff you start getting.
Gotcha.
It's not necessarily you're way safer with a more expensive boot. It doesn't really work that way.
Gotcha. I do have a cheaper pair of Fox boots. They've been great to me so far. They suck to walk in, so I just bring Crocs.
You wear Crocs?
Yeah. So when I'm done riding, I take the boots off. There's 3 buckles, and then I wear Crocs. When I go riding again, then I put the boots back on. Boom. Problem solved.
Yeah, totally. And you can do that.
Yep.
That's fine. Yeah. So for me, that's number 2 would be boots.
Boots.
As it relates, to cost, I wouldn't get too carried away. Honestly, what I found to be kind of middle of the road. So what I'm currently using now are Fox Instinct boots. I think they're $600, $500 or $600.
Okay.
And yeah, they're good. They're comfortable. Of note, they have a lot thinner sole than Alpine Stars do, so it makes me feel a lot more flat-footed on the bike. So you may or may not like that.
Okay.
But they're definitely they're the Fox flagship boot, so they're the higher end Fox boot. But they're still quite a bit cheaper than Tech 10s or something from Alpine Stars.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, could I have gone with a cheaper pair? Sure. Yeah. Why didn't I? I thought the other ones looked cooler.
The cool factor. Yep.
If I'm being honest, yeah, I don't like the way the cheaper ones look. I think they look dumb. And that's nothing against Fox or anything, just my personal preference. I thought the more expensive ones looked cooler. Now, granted, again, I know that they're going to be more comfortable and et cetera, et cetera. I get that. Yep. So, and that is my second pair of the Fox Instinct boot on that level. And I was happy with the first pair. They lasted a long time. Okay. So I knew what I was getting.
So would you go back? Would you get a new pair of the same boots again? Or would you switch it up?
Of the Fox or the Alpine Stars? Yeah, okay. I'd get them again. Yep. If, let's say, Fox and Alpine Stars approached me with a deal, or they're like, we'll give you free boots, which one would I pick? Mm-hmm. Dude, that's a good question. I don't know. I like them both.
Okay.
I like them both. If I'm being honest, I think the Alpine Stars sometimes are, I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence. I was going to say sometimes they're overrated, but I mean, they are a good boot.
Yeah.
They're just expensive.
How long did they last you?
So that's one of the downsides. My Alpine Stars, they don't last me very long. I usually get 2 seasons out of them, and they're kind of destroyed. And the Fox ones have lasted me years and years and years.
You also don't ride like a normal person. You're out at the track how many times a week?
Yeah, and I put a lot of hours on them, right?
Yeah.
So that is something to consider. I probably ride more than most people that are listening to this are going to ride. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. They're all good.
Gotcha.
But my point is, you don't have to break the bank on them just to have a decent setup of boots for sure. So you got the helmet down. We've talked about some boots. Those are the 2 big ones for me. If you can get nothing else, you need those 2 things.
Okay. So one thing that I always see you riding with is the neck brace.
Yeah.
Neck protector.
So that leads me into if we have some money to spend still, right? After we've bought the expensive helmet, what would I get? For me, if I have to pick one or the other, it's a good question. So between the chest protector and the neck brace for me, neck brace is a fairly controversial topic to people. A lot of people think that they're nonsense. They don't do anything. I feel pretty strongly against that. I feel that they are very effective, and that's for a number of reasons. But if I have to pick one, just a chest protector or a neck brace, man, I'm going with the neck brace. Now,
really?
Yeah. Now I know a lot of people are like, okay, well that's stupid.
Nobody's accused you of being smart.
Yeah, true.
That's so not true.
I mean, hear me out. With the chest protector, what are we talking about it protecting? From blunt force trauma, rocks, right?
Yeah, my only experience with those are you zipping past me and just shooting a whole bunch of crap my way.
Right,
Hit
right.
me in the chest.
Totally. So it takes some of the sting away from some of the rocks, right? Mm-hmm. That's why they're called roost deflectors. Whereas opposed to the neck brace, depending on where you sit on the topic, what you think about it, the neck brace can save you from paralyzation and a bunch of other things. Now, again, I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's bullshit. They don't do that. I disagree. I've seen some studies. I've seen some data to say that they do. And when I'm just thinking logically about it, it stops your head from movement in certain directions. It stops it from compressing your spine, etc. I don't understand how you argue that. Now, in addition to that, I've chatted with some doctors about it who are very knowledgeable about sports physiology and all this kind of stuff, and they're doctors, and they look at me with 3 heads when I say people say you shouldn't wear them, because in their mind, they're like,
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? Like that makes complete sense that it's effective against some injuries, right? Yep. So if I had to pick one or the other, number 3 for me is the neck brace. And now I personally feel that you need both. I think you need a chest protector and a neck brace. So I'd like to combine those into one, with the understanding of neck braces are very expensive. So I get that, right? And chest protectors you can actually get for really cheap. So I can understand if people want to just get a cheap chest protector, not worry about the neck brace until they get some more money. I do get that.
Gotcha. Now with the neck brace, how does that affect your riding? Or does it?
It doesn't. No. I mean, once you get used to it, you don't even know it's there. Okay. Like when I ride, I don't realize that I'm wearing it at all. It has no effect on me personally. Okay. I do know with like chest protectors and with the neck brace, a lot of people will talk about there's too much bulk there and they can't move around enough. And I do understand that because I do feel like there is some bulk behind them. But for me, it's a risk versus reward thing, right? So for me, yes, I'm losing some of my comfort. Yes, it's more expensive, but for me, I have as much protection as I can because in this sport, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Yeah. So knowing that I want to protect myself the best I can, right? So that means a fairly big chest protector and a neck brace.
Gotcha. And with the neck brace, if you crash in that, is it reusable or is it like a helmet, you crash and go get a new one? Depends
on what kind of crash you do. So if you crash a neck brace and nothing's broken on it, it's good to go.
Gotcha.
They are designed though, like, so there's a part that kind of goes down the back of your neck on your spine. Mm-hmm. That is designed to break away at a certain force so that your neck doesn't break.
So the force is transferred to that rather than your
Bingo.
neck. Okay.
Yeah. So when, obviously, sorry, if you crash and that breaks away, well, then now you need a new one, right? But thankfully it's done its job, right? Now, one of the big controversial things about a neck brace is they say, well, it breaks your collarbone, right?
I would take a broken collarbone or a broken neck any day.
Yeah, dude. Like, if I'm wearing it and it breaks my collarbone, I've had a pretty big accident, so at least I have the comfort in knowing that it's likely going to stop, some major neck or back injury.
Yeah.
And again, this is a super controversial thing. I'm sure there's some people that are going to listen to this and be like, "That's bullshit. Those are a big gimmick." Blah blah blah. I disagree. I think they're important, man.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. I think I had another question about that. Oh, have you had a crash with the neck brace?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Didn't break away or anything like that.
Okay.
But I have had crashes wearing them. Actually, the one last year where I totaled that helmet, I was wearing the neck brace. And again, super thankful for that I was, man. I got kicked off of a big tabletop and I got driven into the ground. And yeah, man, I'm thankful I was wearing it. I can't say that, I can't say unequivocally that it stopped any sort of neck or back injury.
You don't want to recreate that without one?
Yeah, but I'm not going to go through it again not wearing one,
for sure.
Right? I can tell you that much. So yeah, that's kind of, like I said, I'd like to combine. So 1 helmet, 2 the boots, 3 for me is the neck brace and chest protector. If I had to pick one, I'd pick neck brace. Chest protectors, as far as those go, this is kind of a personal thing too. A lot of people like a comfortable, lighter feeling chest protector that goes under the jersey. I get that. Some people prefer an over the jersey chest protector because of the protection that it provides, and I understand both sides of that because I wear a really bulky one from Liat, but it also has the ultimate protection, right? Gotcha. Like it's super hard armor, man.
And is yours an under?
No, it's an over. It's an over. Gotcha. And I get it because yes, as much as it shouldn't matter, it does in motocross fashion, right? So it looks cooler when you have your name and number on the back of the jersey, right? And you got the chest protector under it.
Can you still get your name and number on your chesty?
You can. It doesn't look the same though. Okay. It looks kind of dumb.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I just run it blank. You can get like ID kits and stuff, but I've always thought they look stupid.
Okay. Ooh, shots fired.
but
I just hear somebody going unsubscribe, unfollow,
totally.
Unlike.
But I just think they do, man. Like none of the ID kits have ever really done anything for me, so I've just never bothered getting one.
Gotcha.
Whereas obviously the jersey stuff always looks cool, right? So I get it. There's the bit of a fashion thing there. I get it. I don't know. For me personally, I just always come back to if I crash today and I have a good crash, what do I want to be wearing? And it always is the one that gives me the most protection and like the best helmet, right?
For sure. I don't know. You could ask anyone that question. Nobody's going to say, you know what, I want the least amount of protection, please. Totally.
So then it becomes a question of, are you willing to gamble, right? Are you going to gamble that you're not going to crash today?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, that's for me is the next thing. And then, then you get into goggles and gloves and jerseys and stuff. And really, I mean, there's a little bit to talk about as far as goggles go, but jerseys, pants, and gloves.
Do they need to match? Boom.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Like,
because I've got a couple gear sets, and if they don't match my boots, my one pair of boots, they just collect dust. They're balled up in the very bottom of my gear bag. Haven't seen the light of day in years because they don't match my boots.
I guess if you care about fashion, they should match.
Okay.
So in the moto world, you rarely see things that don't match. Very rarely.
Gotcha.
In the off-road world, I found people wear whatever the hell. They don't give shit if it matches or not. They're like, I'm out in the bush. What do I care?
Yeah.
Which is also cool. Mm-hmm. So I guess depending on if that's something that matters to you, but realistically, whether you're getting the latest and greatest or something that's on sale or whatever, gear, like clothing is clothing, right? Yes, some of them is meshed, so it's a little cooler and whatever, but gear is gear.
Yeah. I did just go buy a new set of gear.
And what did you get?
It is Thor Sector.
Mm-hmm. And why did you get it?
Because it looked awesome. And of course I bought a new pair of gloves so that it would match.
Right. And where did you see this set of gear? Like, did you see it online or did you just walk into a store?
Walked into a store and found it.
And then just spent dollar bills.
Yeah.
How much was it for the set?
I think it was $29 for the jersey, $100 for the pants.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think our camera just died.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we might have to pause this. So I can put a new battery in the camera.
Battery.
Okay. Dropped a new battery in that bad boy. So,
Fantastic.
yeah. Sorry about that. I don't know how to fix it, but
Yeah.
anyway. So where were we? We were talking about, right. So you got a new gear set because it looked cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool looking set. Haven't gotten a new one in a little while. Went to Cycle Works to get it. Place was awesome. Ended up not having the matching pants that I wanted, so they ordered it.
You
What's up?
didn't have the matching pants that I wanted.
They gotta match. They have to match. So yeah, they got them sent out of Ontario, so I'll pick them up this week. But one thing I wanted to mention was I have grown quite a bit.
Which way, up or sideways?
Sideways and upways, I guess. Upways. So been a while since I've got stuff. Throw in a large, skin tight. Yeah, yet everything I wear is a large. And then I went to grab my gloves because gloves have to match,
Avi.
of course. And I went from a large to a double XL.
Really?
My hands are massive
Dude,
all of a
a
sudden.
double XL in the paws?
Yeah.
That's got to be just that set or something. Like, your hands can't physically grow like that,
I
can
know,
they?
right? So I tried the Fox stuff on. I tried the Thor stuff on, and
It was all double XL?
yeah, I think the Fox I could squeeze into an XL. So
Wow.
I think the sizing's just funky now because I went home. I tried on 3 sets of gloves that I have. I'm like, no, all larges.
Oh, okay. So it is just something. It's not that your hands grew. It's just that.
No.
Okay.
What is
well,
that?
I was going to say.
Elephantitis or something?
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. So kind of important to actually try this stuff on. It's nice to order online. It's convenient, but walking into a shop, trying it on, I would have ended up with wrong sizes and everything.
Yeah,
had I
totally.
not.
Yeah, definitely. If you can, try it on for sure. But I feel like we should touch on. Yes, that's weird.
That's what you're going for, right?
I feel like we should touch on. I'm going to keep my hand close to myself so you don't do that.
Don't touch me.
We should touch on some goggles. So helmets, boots, neck brace, chest protector, right? Again, depending on how you feel about that stuff. And then for me, goggles would be the next thing. Eye protection, right? Super, super important. I might even put it ahead of the neck brace and chest protector, dude. Just because, especially if you're riding on a track with other people, then it definitely is ahead of it because you're for sure going to hurt your eyes if you don't have some sort of thing on there. But I don't know. There's a part of me that just felt like goggles were a no-brainer, you know? But as far as goggles go, cheap ones, expensive ones, doesn't matter.
So what are you looking for in a set of goggles?
They got to look cool.
Well, odd be.
Really just pretty basic. For me, I want some tearaway pegs on them, right? So I can put some tear-offs on them. I do like the more expensive goggles because they have tri-foam on them, like 3 layers of foam. So they're way more comfortable. They absorb sweat a lot better. Whereas you find some of the cheaper goggles might not absorb the sweat as well, and they might not be quite as comfortable. However, if you're on a budget, goggles, cheap ones will work just the same too.
Oh, okay. So they're all meant to withstand rocks and stuff being kicked up at you.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Now, there are different lenses. So, for example, once again, Liat has more impact resistant lenses. So they don't, because some of the cheaper ones, if a rock, like a big rock hits them, the lens will pop out of them. You know?
Really?
Yeah, whereas some of the more expensive goggles, they have a better retention system for the lens. So it'll take more of an impact before the lens pops out and smacks you in the face and hurts your eyes.
Yeah.
So something to consider, so depending on how much money you have, yes, the more expensive goggles are worth it, I think. I run more expensive goggles. Now, when I say expensive, I'm not talking Oakley's or some shit. That is just, you're paying for a name. I'm talking $100 for a set of goggles is top.
Okay.
I'm not paying more than that.
Gotcha. And you have quite the goggle collection, various colors and lens colors.
Gotta look cool.
Yeah, buddy. What do the lens colors do?
Well, there's obviously, it's like sunglasses that way, right? Different tints, do you want clear lens? Do you want an olive lens? Do you want, a yellow or a blue lens? It just affects the light that's coming through them so you can see the terrain differently, right? So if you're like riding in a treed area where it's lots of shade, maybe you want a clear lens, If you're out on a sunny day, run the tinted, that sort of thing. I mean, that's fairly straightforward, I think.
Gotcha. Not for me because I have all tinted. So when we're at Blackfoot, when it gets to a certain point in the evening, I have to steal a pair of goggles from you, get the clear stuff so I can actually see the track.
Yeah. So, if you can only pick one, get the clear. right? And if you can afford a couple sets, I would say one clear, one tinted, and you can get replacement lenses for most goggles, so you can run the same strap and frame and just pop the lens out and put a different lens in for a fraction of the cost.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that, just touch on the goggles, because it's maybe I should have put that before the neck brace and stuff, but I kind of felt like it was a no-brainer, right? But so I guess if I'm ordering them now or listing them, I would say helmet for sure is number one, boots, goggles, and then your neck brace and chest pro. I guess you could use sunglasses, or you could go to like your local hardware store and buy like safety glasses, and you could use those for sure. So
make sure you got your eyes covered.
Yeah.
They're important.
Totally. Make sure your eyeballs are covered somehow, some way. Super important. And yeah, man, I think that's pretty easy setup for gear. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Some of the stuff is worth the money and some of it's not.
All right. Time for the bonus question. So I've been sitting on this because this is another thing I always see you riding with.
Right.
Knee braces. Boom.
Oh, knee braces.
Gonna toss this into the list. Here we go.
So here's the thing. Knee braces, this could be a whole nother podcast, because there's a lot of talk about whether knee braces actually do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I run knee braces. Now, that being said, do I feel like they will prevent any ACL or MCL injuries or anything like that? Honestly, the data is kind of out on that. So a couple things. One, they have to fit you perfectly. If they're not sized properly for your knee, they will do absolutely nothing. You will be out $800 for something that literally just protects your knee from rocks. Gotcha. And that's it. Okay. That's it. So they have to fit you absolutely perfectly. Now, there's not enough studies that have been done, and I'm talking like football and stuff too, because motocross is not a big enough thing where a lot of the studies get done on it. Mm-hmm. So if we're looking at other sports, some of the studies suggest that it does help you from ACL injuries and things like that, and some of them say didn't do anything. Gotcha. So I don't really know what one to believe at this point, to be honest with you. I wear them because to me it's just like anything else. It can't hurt. Yeah,
an extra layer of protection, right?
Yeah, man. For me, whether it does or it doesn't, I don't know yet, but I do know that if I'm not wearing them, then I'm for sure going to get hurt, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it increases my likelihood of avoiding that injury. So knee braces, dude, that's like a lot of things, man. You can go way down the rabbit hole on cost on those things. For a set of custom knee braces, you're upwards of $5,000.
Dang.
Yeah, man. So, if you go online to one of the things and you look at a set for like $300, again, they're probably not going to fit you perfectly, but is it better than nothing? Probably, So if you can't afford knee braces, I would get a set. Although again, this is it's kind of a personal thing to people. Some people believe in them, some people don't. I personally run them. I will always run them. I just feel like it gives me some protection as far as like if I hit my knee on something, right? Mm-hmm. But then also, I don't know, there's something comforting about wearing them more than anything, I guess.
Gotcha. So I wear the little cheap Fox ones that go on your knee and cover your shin.
Yeah, just shin pads, essentially. Yeah.
So that just protects my knee, but it doesn't help with the hyperextension or anything?
Yeah, so it doesn't help with hyperextension or lateral or medial flexation, like, with your ACL and that kind of stuff, whereas the knee braces will hold that in line,
Gotcha.
So, it's a personal thing. For the record, I completely disagree with Ryan Hughes and his stance on any sort of protective stuff. He doesn't believe in neck braces. He doesn't wear knee braces. He doesn't wear any of that stuff. He thinks the body's meant to move as it's designed.
Is the body meant to move at 40, 50 kilometers an hour on a dirt bike?
Or 100 kilometers an hour, 100 feet in the air.
Totally.
Right? We're introducing forces and impacts that we were never meant to take.
Totally. Like, I don't think you need a knee brace if you're healthy to go running.
Yeah, totally.
Right? 100 kilometers an hour?
Yeah.
You might need something.
Right. So I think personally I wear them. I believe in them. So, again, it's a personal thing, but maybe we should look at getting you a set.
Gotcha.
Again, it's a bit of a kick in the Jones because they're not cheap. As a matter of fact, the set that I have now, I've had them for a number of years, and they're getting really ratty-tatty. Like, I literally am taping them back together in some places, like the straps that go around the back of my leg. I'm taping the straps together.
Not to mention they're ripe. There's no amount of cleaning that you do.
No,
that
they're
make those-
fresh. Febreze.
no.
Febreze them. You'll be fine. It will be fine.
They're in the back of the van. I jump in the passenger seat, and I can still smell that stank.
Febreze. I just forgot to Febreze them.
That one time.
Look,
Okay.
that is sweat from riding, okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they smell a little bit.
A lot
But-
bit.
I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Yeah, so I mean, I definitely am. I've been looking at getting a new set myself, and I've been trying to do my homework on what set I think is best because I'm not ready to drop to 5Gs on a custom pair yet.
Yep.
I haven't seen something to say that if you have these 100%, it's more effective than a pair that just fits well.
Yeah.
Maybe not custom made for you, so I'm not there. But I'm likely going to go with a pretty expensive pair, probably upwards of $800 to $1,000 for the set.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I am going to have to bite the bullet on that at some point soon here and get that pricey set.
Copy. And I have one more gear question for you.
Yeah.
So I was watching the old YouTubes, and I saw somebody was riding a trail, poked a stick in their elbow, and over a course of time, it got infected, swollen up, super huge.
Had cut his arm off?
No, didn't have to cut it off, but lots of antibiotics. So I went out and bought the elbow protectors.
I thought you were going to say you bought antibiotics just in case you get stabbed.
Take 2 of these before
Yeah.
every ride.
Yeah, preventative.
Yep. So I went and bought a pair and lent them to a friend, and I haven't tried them riding yet.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the elbow?
Totally. Yeah, 100%. I mean, to me, it's like, do you want to be comfortable or do you want something to protect you? Totally, dude.
Do people wear those in moto, or is
No,
that an
no.
enduro thing? Or
Some
trail
of the
riding?
dudes out, I think here's what I think. I think all of it, aside from like say a helmet, right, which we know is safer, but I think a lot of that stuff, like elbow pads, chest protectors, all that stuff, I think a lot of that, dude, if I'm being honest, I think a lot of it is an ego thing.
Gotcha.
People feel like they're going to look stupid. You can't tell me that by wearing an elbow pad is going to make you slower. That's bullshit, right? All you can say is that it looks dorky under your jersey.
totally.
Right now, if you fall and hit your elbow, or if a rock gets thrown up and you whack your elbow, or if you run into a tree, you can't argue that an elbow pad or no elbow pad is going to hurt less. Like, you can't argue that.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for the decrease in performance, I would wear a full-on suit of armor. Just look like a knight.
Totally.
Yeah, nothing could
Yeah.
penetrate. I'd be good. I'd be
Yeah.
good to go.
So yeah, I mean, for sure, it's going to make you a little safer. Honestly, I've never really considered wearing them, and I don't know why. I think it's just because they're literally non-existent in the moto world.
Do they fit your arms, Mitch?
Oh, you know what? That's another good point. They probably wouldn't, to be honest. They wouldn't fit.
Humble
Yeah,
brag.
I never thought about that. No, but seriously, it's actually a pain in the butt. Same thing, dude, with knee braces. So for the people who are just listening, or I guess watching, you can't see my calves, but dude, my calves are ridiculous, and I am not saying that to brag. It's irritating because when I get pants or
can't fit my hands around his calves. One more time.
when I go to get knee braces or boots, dude, my calves won't fit in them. And it's so irritating because I have to get knee braces that are sized for my knee, right? Or boots. Like, I can't close my boots, dude, because my calves are stupid. And so that's annoying. It's not something I ever considered, but you're probably right about the elbow pads. They probably wouldn't fit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There are times, honestly, where I wish I had smaller calves so they'd fit into stuff a little more normally.
Do they have helmets to fit your big ego?
Oh, come on. They do. Double
Called
X.
the triple XL.
You know what? I actually I have a giant head, but I wear a medium.
Do you?
Yep.
That's not a giant head then.
That's what I thought, but I always thought I had this huge head, and no, I actually wear a medium.
Dude, you got a baby head.
And to be fair, too, for a lot of years, I wore a large, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't realize that the helmet should fit a lot more snugly than the large fit on me. So
Okay.
the last couple of years, I went down to a medium, and it's a lot better.
Gotcha. So you could have all this nice gear, fancy gear, expensive gear, safe gear, but if it's 3 sizes too big, it's
Not doing
probably
anything.
not doing much for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Copy.
Yeah. So sizing is super important too.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a good question on the knee braces, man. I hadn't even thought of that one. But yeah, I guess if you got the budget for it, get them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
Okay. Maybe I'll look into it.
Yeah, we should. Maybe we can find a place that if we buy, $2,000 worth of knee braces, they can give us a deal on it.
I like it.
That's what I think anyway. So that's it, man. That's episode 6. We talked about some gear. What do you need? What do you not need? Some things to keep in mind when you're buying it. Hopefully for the more experienced riders out there, they found some value in this. I appreciate everyone tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, absolutely. And hit us up on Instagram, man, at Fit4Moto on Instagram, FIT4MOTO on Instagram. DM me if you got any questions or anything. I'm happy to answer them. Answer them or answer them? I think I meant to say answer them.
I think you just wanted to say you were handsome.
What do they call it? Mitch matched?
Mitch matched?
Yeah. I'm happy to answer them. So hit me up for sure. Definitely check out the website, www.fit4moto.com. And that's spelled out FITFOURMOTO.com. We've got the Patreon, which gives you access to behind the scenes. We got some cool videos that no one else gets to see. You get early access. You get ad-free podcast videos, all that stuff. We have a Discord chat. We got some cool stuff on there. So, make sure you head over to check out the Patreon. We also got a free fitness plan on there. You can download it. I think you just chuck your email in, get you off to the races with some workout stuff.
Fantastic. Can we do a bonus for all the people who stuck around?
Yeah. What do you want?
I don't know. Any Fit4Moto news? What's coming up?
Well, we got some schools coming up, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's kind of a silly season for us right now with the schools and stuff, right? But yeah, man, we got some schools coming up. Also, we're going to be heading down into the States this winter. Make sure you check out, there's the World Vet Championships down in Cali that we're going to go do.
Do you know anyone racing in that, Mitch?
I do, me.
What?
Yeah, it's going to be cool, man. I can't wait to go down and get my ass beat down there by some fast old dudes.
That's going to be awesome.
But it should be a good time. Hopefully, we're going to go down to Red Bull Day in the Dirt, I think, too, which is hopefully should be around the same time. So that'll be cool.
Nice.
Be down in SoCal doing some riding.
Yeah.
Pretty wicked. Yeah, man. So make sure you check out that stuff. We got some free stuff for you. We appreciate everyone watching or listening. And well, I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking around. Trick. For the one person that's
do you think we
watching.
could? Yeah, if that, it's just us. Do you think we could hire somebody to just mix these sound effects up so they're just random? They're random sound effects.
Oh, I would love that.
Oh, the song ended. Does that mean we have to stop?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
We could use
You're
that
so
one.
funny.
Oh, Mitch matched.
Oh, or what about this one?
There we go. That'd be for, what was it, Hornsome, or what did you say it was?
I don't remember. I say a lot of dumb things. Mitch matched is one.
Mitch matched.
Horsome? No. Ham whizzle?
Ham chop.
Ham chop. I don't know. I say dumb things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we should probably just stop now because people are probably all left. It's just us in an empty room.
No, it's my mom. My mom's there.
What's up, Rick's mom?
Thanks, Gail. Love you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Bye, everybody.